This program is designed and produced by the community with the support of Cogeco TV.
Now a few words about Dr. Stephen McCabe. Upon leaving Dresden, he graduated from the University of Toronto Medical School in 1980 and trained in plastic and reconstructive surgery in London. He worked as a hand surgery fellow at Sunnybrook Health Science Centre in Toronto. He furthered his training in hand and microsurgery at the Kleinert Institute in Louisville, Kentucky for 2 years before coming back to work at Sunnybrook. While in Toronto, in his spare time, he earned a Master's of Science degree at McMaster University. Dr. McCabe moved back to Kentucky to join the faculty at the University of Louisville and the Kleinert Institute. In 2012, Dr. McCabe was a Fulbright Scholar in Italy, where he taught research methodology at the University of Siena. He is currently the director of the hand program at the University of Toronto.
Dan Sinisak was a teacher of mine about 45 years ago. He taught me auto shop, and he taught me everything I know about tools. As a matter of fact, the whole first 3 months of the class was about tools. He always gets that complaint, I'm sure, still. And it's interesting, Alan Prey then went on to become an auto shop teacher. I had a great pleasure of visiting Alan Prey at his cottage, just for a short visit with Kelvin. And as it turns out, it's quite a long ways up north near Sault Ste. Marie, but as you know, the teachers get quite a bit of holidays, so they can get a cottage up north quite a great distance. You know, the hospital budgets are very tight now, and patients don't want surgery at Christmas, so they actually closed the operating room last year at our hospital in Toronto for 3 weeks at Christmas. And it's a true story. The Teachers Federation wrote a letter of complaint. The doctors were getting more vacation than the teachers that year. So what we know is from our reattachment of amputated hands. So we have a good model, if you like, in other words, getting to the adjacent possible, where we know that if a hand is reattached, the growth plates will stay open and it can grow. We don't know the effect of the immunosuppression and the effect of the surgery itself, but we anticipate that those hands will grow. So this young fella was already on immunosuppression. So the next step is, if this works well over the next few years, it seems reasonable that maybe for children who have lost their hands and are not on immunosuppression, could that be the adjacent possible to do transplantation for those patients? And there's been no transplantations in children who have not been on immunosuppression. We have one at Sick Children's that we will probably do a transplantation on, who also has a kidney transplant. But it's interesting, we don't know for sure how they will grow and function, but we anticipate they should. We try to keep the patient warm so that the blood will have as much flow as possible, and we use medications like heparin to try to make the blood less thrombotic. It's interesting, we keep the patients warm, we keep the room warm. I visited a hand surgery center in Singapore, and there they have private insurance, and the people who have private insurance get air conditioning. And if you have public insurance, you don't get air conditioning. So it becomes a problem, because if you cut off your hand or your fingers and you have private insurance, we want to keep the room warm, but the patients get angry because they have private insurance and want air conditioning. So they actually invented an oven that you put your arm in to keep it warm, so the patients can get air conditioning, you keep the hand warm. If we look at the World War II era cable and hook prosthesis, there may be people here who know more than I do about it, but I think the cost would be about $40,000 to $60,000 lifetime. If we look at these new prosthetics, the up-to-date prostheses, the cost will be about $300,000 or $400,000 over the lifetime. They're $80,000, and then you have to have them repaired, et cetera. So that would be about what a hand transplant would cost. That's our estimate. We don't know for sure. We're keeping track of our first one. The Ontario government's concerned about that for sure. And I think it's only going to be very few patients that meet the criteria. They have to be young, they have to have an injury that's suitable to have a good recovery, And I don't think it'll be very many patients. So the overall hit on the taxpayer will probably be fairly low compared to other things. But I think it's going to come in at a few $100,000 for a lifetime.
On behalf of the members of the Dresden Rotary Club and all of our guests here tonight, we'd like to thank you, Dr. McCabe, for speaking at our 30th annual banquet this evening. I think you were a fitting choice to help Dresden Rotary celebrate 30 years of history in Dresden. It's great to have someone from home return to home and let us celebrate success. He's one of us. It worked too, as many people have noted tonight, because this banquet is the first ever to be sold out 3 weeks ahead of time. So these tickets are hot property tonight. My dad, another Rotarian, Bruce Hart, is the one who identified that you might be a good speaker for us to invite. He's too shy to do the thank you, so that's why I'm up here. And thanks to his dedicated reading to the free press, and of course the widespread interest in your recent surgery, we're celebrating your success right along with your family here tonight. You've been a buzz around town for a while, and I've really enjoyed hearing Rotarians talk about Principal McCabe, your dad, and going to school with you or one of your siblings. So there have been lots of smiles and laughs and good stories from that. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me again in thanking Stephen McCabe for being here.